Grab your sheet music, Wargamers. Today, we need to move on to the second movement of the Song of Arda. We're remaking our Middle-earth because this map that we drew up, we had an issue. Our last episode, we laid this out, and we had one big hill here. I was thinking that I had two halves of a hill. I don't. I actually have two corner pieces that look a little something like this. And if I were to lay those out here, it would look really dumb. One, it would be way too long, and two, we would have a cliff, and that's no good. So what I did is I revised things by drifting this hill down here and using a slightly smaller hill in the center. That's why our terrain looks a little bit off. Our heavy woods are not so big, so as you can see, we still laid them up there. We're trying to keep as close to what we drew with the deck of cards as possible. For the battle, we're calling this a Battle of Fenton Woods, by the way, for two reasons. I'm going to throw the cover of a book up here. I helped design this cover for an author, Fenton Wood. If you like science fiction, particularly if you remember the old... This book is probably the closest heir to the Mad Scientist Club that I've ever come across. Fenton is a great guy. This is a phenomenal book. Starts out as a boy's adventure, and then it's actually 5 books in one, and by the end of the 5th book... It's one volume. By the end of the 5th book, it just goes completely bonkers. It is absolutely incredible. A Paul Bunyan-esque Americana, technical. It's just a heck of a lot of fun. Give it a shot. Written by Fenton Wood. Also, we have a commenter who may or may not be the same guy, who is named Fenton Central Engage and Wargaming, and he's a great guy. So I have named this battle kind of after him and kind of after one of my favorite authors. With all that out of the way, let's take a look at how we set up our forces. The Tenebrans over here are outnumbered 28 AP to about 43, and they're the defenders. So they have to place 10 AP, and they said, I'm going to go bland. I'm not going to reveal any of my cards. They put down 10 AP. A couple of line regiments, a couple of batteries. Thinking, maybe I can go for the hill. Fine. The Alban General Meltzer says, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to drop 2 batteries of guns and 2 regiments here and just kind of play it cagey, like I'm hanging out behind the river. I should point out, you cannot cross this river anywhere except for the bridge, so far as Meltzer is concerned. General Lacky has found out about a ford located right here. I don't know how much good that's going to do him. And this raises the interesting question of, he's got better intel than him. How do I, as a wargamer, reflect that? It's not easy. I'm doing my best to stay as neutral as possible. Because he's outnumbered, and because it's way over there, might not do him a whole lot of good. We'll find out. The little advantage that, well, getting a little ahead of myself here. Okay, so we've placed boring, just kind of a central. These guns, and by the way, when I had to shift this hill from here down to the corner, guess what, Meltzer? Your intel was a little bad. Your cannons followed their orders. Now they're way out of position. So they're going to move up. They don't know about this. So they're going to move up here, again, to defend that. All right, so what does Lackey do in response? He says, well, I'll just put a couple of guys. I got a light infantry, I got a grenadier, and I got a line infantry. We'll bring those guys on the hill, or on the road. Remember, the road, you get a +1 to come in. You get 2 reinforcements per turn. They come on a 3+ from your back line and a 4+ from your sideline. +1 for the road means anything but a 1, and you'll bring your guys in. So he may be able to get guys in quick. He might not want to go for the hill. Because in response to that move, now General Meltzer says, well, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put a couple of cannons and a couple of line infantry. And now he's thinking, I'm just going to bring my guns up, and I'm just going to start pounding you from a distance. He's got a grand battery. He didn't use it in the first meeting of these two generals. Not going to make that mistake again. General Lackey then says, fine, I'm going to go ahead and put my other reinforcement point down here. That's what these 2 chips are. His plan is to bring in line infantry and then all of his zoomers, all of his little horsies back here. He's got 1 heavy and 2 light, and I'll just zip across and see if I can get into your backfield and cause a problem. To which Meltzer says, fine, I'll put my reinforcement point down here. And he's got 1, 2, 3 grenadiers, 1 line, a heavy, and then a light cavalry. And then, oh, by the way, As you recall, Lackey knows about this ford. He does not. His advantage is he got to drop an extra reinforcement point. A couple of cavalry have gone around to the north, and they're sitting there ready to come on whenever. A little more flexibility. He's got a pincer movement. Normally, that's only possible if you have your other reinforcement point over there. So he technically didn't know about these guys until after all the rest of the troops have been laid down. Now he does know about them. Now he's got to think about them, which changes his strategy considerably. Since I got guys coming at me from 3 different directions, it's got to go full south flank here. Full right flank. He can anchor here. He can set up and let these guys come to him. That's about all he can do. For his part, seeing what's going on, Meltzer is still thinking, I got to get over and take that hill, and then I command the entire surrounding area. Break point for both of these armies is going to be 4. We've experimented with not knowing, and maybe he's better, so he can stand 5. Doesn't matter, right? Because you've got the strategic level to consider as well. On the strategic level, this may be the last battle of the war. If Meltzer can deliver a resounding defeat, then Lackey's going to have to throw in the towel. He's going to have to go back over to King Gloomover and say, I did the best I could, but maybe retreat and maybe we do a siege. I'm not not entirely sure. On the other hand, if Lackey can deliver a crushing defeat on Meltzer and really put his forces behind the 8 ball, if he can crush him here and do some significant damage in the retreat, that may wreck this force as an offensive force. So we don't know what it's going to be. We got to play. And unfortunately, because of all the complexities, I'm going to go ahead and I'm not going to fast forward. I'm going to play out every single turn, start to finish, so you can see the reinforcement points. That is critical in this game. And we'll see. I may need to break this up. We're already at 7.5 minutes. I may wind up breaking this into 2 episodes, which I'm not good at logistically, but hey, it is what it is, and we'll do the best we can, and we'll have a great time. Fortunately for Lackey, as the defender, he gets to take the first turn. Oh, by the way, his general is going to go ahead and start right here. Generals have a 6-inch command radius, and it looks like that is plenty. He's going to start out by bringing his reinforcements. This light infantry is going to go ahead and try to come on and not, and then he's going to try again. And with a 3, he will come on, and as light infantry, he's going to go ahead and move 3 inches to, he can move 4 inches on the road. So we'll go ahead and just sweep him down the road. Then we have to move our boys, and it's going to be 3 inches. Cannons only move 2, and our general's just going to stay right there for now. Oh, let's go ahead and just swing him around like this. I think this is probably the smarter play. We're going to have to set up a defensive line kind of somewhere over here for the man. You can move obliquely, half movement rate, so infantry only move 1.5 inches if you do that. And that's it for him. Then we're going to go ahead and do, I rolled the wrong die, didn't I? White dice for the boys in white, black die for the boys in black. So these guys now can move 4 inches, and they're going to take advantage of all of it. We'll bring the cannon down, unsuspecting. Now they have an 8-inch range, so I think we'll leave them up there. They're going to be out of position, though, by the time. Yeah, let's go ahead and bring them down. Let's go ahead and see if we can get them close to the bridge. We'll bring our general up, squat him right on the bridge, and then we're going to try to bring on another cannon and fail. How about that? And we will bring on a cannon, and we'll at least get to move him up 3 inches. And that is really it for turn number 1. There are other aspects to the game which we'll get to soon enough. We're going to try to bring on these grenadiers, and with a 3, we definitely do. So we'll move our light infantry out of the way to make space for them. And then we'll go ahead and slide. We'll spin these guys. We got plenty of time. So let's take full advantage of that. we'll try to bring these guys up to, I guess, about there. I don't know, man. Was that a mistake? Should we have tried to put these guys up here to at least slow them down? I kind of think we want to leave them right there. Because Meltzer may be able to cause some havoc by bringing all of his Grenadier in right now and putting paid. The problem there is if you try to bring on 2 guys, then you're going to quickly get overwhelmed. At least that's my thinking. They have done all of their movement, haven't they? Yeah. And then, in fact, they may want to bring on that last line infantry quicker. We'll bring our line infantry up. And then we'll bring our cannon up with the extra inch. Our general goes there. This cannon goes there, and this cannon goes there. And then we have a couple of reinforcements over here. And let's go ahead and, yeah, let's bring that other cannon in. And he'll move 3 inches, and then we have a line infantry that will come in. And now he can move 3, but those cannon are in the way. So there is interpenetration, moving 3 and 4, but that's going to slow them down a little bit, so we'll have to figure that out next turn. The good news is at least they have time to start setting things up as well. It is now it's still turn number 2. One of the mistakes I made in the past is thinking turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, no. It's they moved and they moved, and that's turn 1. In fact, I can put a turn counter out here somewhere. Let's find someplace discreet, shall we? This is the beginning of turn number 3. The battle started at 8 a.m. That may or may not be important. It's a half an hour per turn, so it's only 9 a.m. right now. We'll bring these light infantry up to there. These guys can now move 4 because they're on the road. And then we'll go ahead and, let's see, 3 inches. We'll bring them down. And then we'll bring these guys down to here. Oh, that's only 2. But he was there, so we can move 2 inches. We'll kind of pivot. We'll bring him down to there. And then we'll bring him down to anchor that side. And then we have, let's go ahead and bring this line in next. And now we need what do you call it? It's actually 3+ when you're not coming in on a road, which they got, of course. So that's 3 inches. And then we'll try to bring in this guy. And that's, again, they're sitting back at the camp going, have a good time, guys. Enjoy your little battle. Let us know how it turns out. We'll be in the rear with the gear, as they say. All right, time to commit here. Let's go ahead and take the hill with those guys, and they don't quite have enough to get up there. General's going to move out of the way, so this cannon can move 3 inches. I want to move the line infantry up. Boy, quite a choke point we're dealing with here, isn't it? These guys will move up, and these guys will move to there. And then we do have some reinforcements. We're not ready for this one yet. Let's go ahead, and we've only got, you know what? We've only got one more up here. Let's roll for him. Oh, he does not come on. The roads are not paying off today, are they? 3 inches to there, and that's it. So we move on to the 10 o'clock hour. Okay, Mr. Tenebran, what do you want to do? One of the things you can do, by the way, in 2x2 Napoleonics by Rod Humble et al., you can march a unit off at a reinforcement point. If you do, let me just read it verbatim, would you? Yeah, it costs an inch. You have to have an inch left over to exit the board. If you're using 3 inches, the reinforcing player may remove the enemy unit. Wait a minute. If an enemy unit is within 3 inches of the reinforcement point, the reinforcing player can remove the enemy unit and the one he was going to bring on and destroy them both. Conversely, if a phasing player exits, he removes his unit and the next reinforcement both count towards victory conditions, okay? In other words, well, that's how this works. Okay, in other words, if they're within 3 inches of this point, and we bring on a reinforcement, the guy that brings on the reinforcement can destroy both of them. And they both count towards the victory conditions. Alternatively, if he marches off, he can say, yeah, he's destroyed, but so is that first unit. Now that's important because we're going to do that. He's going to try. If he makes it off in the next turn, he can eliminate a grenadier unit, which may come in handy. We're going to bring this cannon down like so. We'll bring this cannon down like so. I don't know what the rules are for, like, pivoting. Do you have to pivot and move straight and then wait to pivot on your next turn? Do you count as having moved? I don't know. We're only going to move this guy 1.5 inches, and then we're going to bring this guy, who is a grenadier, 3 inches. We'll run this guy 3 inches over to here, and we'll bring our leader down to there. We still have the ability to bring on reinforcements, so we're going to start with this guy. No, we're not going to bring him on. We're going to try to bring on our heavy cavalry, and a 3 will just barely do it. He can move 4 inches, so we're going to bring him up to there. And we've got a light cavalry who is also going to come on and move 5 inches to is going to move 5 inches to there. Light cavalry are very useful for destroying units out here because they don't do a whole lot of good on the board itself. Tenebrans are done. Let's see what you got, General Meltzer. Kind of taking your time setting things up here, aren't you? 3 inches to there. 3 inches to there. We'll bring a cannon up. We'll bring this guy up 4 inches. We'll bring quite a chance. This is why it's going to take some time. You might have been better leaping forward. But if you'd done that, they would have come on. You would have had all kinds of problems. You can't second guess yourself. That's going to be 1.5 inches. He's only going to be able to move 2 inches. Let's take the 3 inches and the 4 inches, and then this cannon will come up to there. And we do still have some reinforcements. So let's see. Now we only bring them in on a 4+. We can trade a grenadier unit and go 1-on-1 if we're feeling good. We outnumber them, and I say we because I'm talking about from the point of view of the phasing character. From the point of view of the phasing character, does it make sense to do that? Or does it make more sense to start bringing on the cavalry? We got cavalry coming in over here. Let's go ahead and play it a little bit safe and bring those cavalry. We'll make them use their movement to do it. So this is going to need a 4-up to bring on the first, and then a 4-up to bring on the second. So they both come on, and it's a light and a heavy cavalry. The light cavalry move 5 inches. The heavy cavalry move 4. I suppose I should measure from the map board edge like so. Gives them something else to think about, something else to worry about. That is the end of the Alban turn. And it becomes turn number 5. So 2.5 hours into the day. It's 10:30 in the morning. Time to start thinking about lunch, guys. And we're going to go ahead and move our infantry off. First destroyed. And who do we know who that was? We do. That was the second Umbrastron. Is going to eliminate the second Alban Grenadiers. So there's our casualties over here. 1-1. We're tied at 1-up. And, these are both heavy cavalry. Interesting. Wait a minute. That's not right. We brought on a light cavalry. I'm using the wrong one. Here, look how close they are to each other with these 2mm. So 3 lines group tight are heavy. 3 lines nice and loose are light. So there you go. We're going to bring... how far? Let's see. We're going to bring these guys up. We're going to bring this light cavalry to here. And just outside of that 3 inches, we'll bring the heavy cavalry up. We'll go ahead and bring this infantry down to to here, kind of bring our general as close. Oh, whoops, that's not our general. This is our general. This is our light infantry, who's going to come down to here. And we do still have a little bit of reinforcements to bring on. So this is a heavy cavalry, and they're not going to come on. They need a 3+. These guys need a 2+, and they're not going to come on either. Oh, the Tenebrans dragging their feet. That's too bad. We could have used those guys up there. Hey, it is what it is. In fact, I don't think I moved these guys, did I? I'm going to go ahead and bring them up to here. And they may be able to chase off a light cavalry down there. The Albans are now going to... Where's our 8-inch mark? Right there. Let's go ahead and... on the hill, these guys are basically out of range. So we're going to have to bring our boys down now. And we'll bring them down like this to threaten this way. We'll bring these guys... Oh, yeah. We'll bring... Ooh, they need another turn. Because we really want to bring this cannon... All right, so we got to bring these guys down. It's so hard, right? The idea is we want to put a couple of cannon up here to keep these horses at bay. How do you shuffle them around? That's the difference between a good general and a great general, is a great general wouldn't find himself in this position. So we got to bring these guys down. We're going to bring these guys down to here. They are going to be somewhat unsupported for the moment. And then this cannon is going to race along there, infantry to there. This cannon can move 3, this infantry to there, and then we'll go 1, 2, and 1, 2. So they're still choke pointed there at the bridge. Now might be the time to try to sweep over as fast as possible. Then we have a couple of reinforcements we're going to bring on, because if we don't, now it's 4 up. Got to roll a 4 to bring these reinforcements on. We've got 2 grenadier units that we're trying to bring on. The first one does not, and the second one does, so that's kind of big. But where are they going to go? Right, we're outside of the 3 inches, so they don't destroy anybody. Oh, you know what you can do, though? You can come on within 3 inches. So we're going to bring them on 3 inches to the side right there. And we're just going to bring them in like that, I guess. We'll bring them on and we'll pivot. And that's it. Almost. We're going to bring these heavy cavalry up, and we'll bring these guys back just a little bit. So they're kind of, these guys are hovering in the shadow of their big brothers there. I think that's it for the Albans. We are on to turn number 6. And we want to know what's going to happen here with this heavy cavalry. They come on. So we'll put them there for now. And we will go ahead and move them 4 inches to here. This line infantry is also going to come on, and they can move 4 inches to here. And that's it for reinforcements. We'll bring these guys, we'll pivot, slide in a little bit. These guys to here. The cannon, we're going to slide them over to there, and we're going to bring this cannon up. We'll bring this cannon up. We're going to bring these cavalry to there. They're going to neutralize, and then we'll bring these guys, and I think, oh, we do have this light infantry. They can move 3 inches down to there. So we have 2 casualties on both sides now. And that light cavalry has essentially, who is that? That is the Langnian. They have neutralized the Cliffrost Grenadiers, which is probably a pretty good trade. The Tenebrans are done. Now it's time for the Albans. The Albans want to bring on a line infantry down here, and they do. So that's just a straight line infantry there. We're going to bring this infantry off-road now down to here to try to shore up our lines. Oh, you know what? I got it. Okay. Okay. We really need to start paying attention to turn order here. He does his moving. He didn't have any shots. Now he does his movement. All of his movement. So once we're done with that, so right, that's what I needed to check. Do these guys have any movement? They've only brought in one reinforcement so far. We're going to bring this cannon up to here with a slight pivot. I think he already moved. We're going to bring this cannon up. We're going to bring these guys up 4 inches, and then these guys both move 3 and 3, and we'll bring our general over to there. And I think he's pretty well protected. I think we're good. Now, we do have a couple of reinforcements. Oh, we'll bring these. Let's go ahead and try to bring on, I don't know if these are both grenadiers. They're both really hurting. Those are the grenadiers. They shouldn't be grenadiers. They should be line infantry. All right. I think we want to go ahead and bring on that heavy cavalry. And a 4+ will do it. We'll drop them right there. So you get 3. Well, they really can't. So we're going to drop them right there. That's what we're going to have to do. And then they can move. I mean, we can run them in here and complicate matters for the Tenebrans. It doesn't really matter. They're done with their reinforcement. So this is now their graveyard. And then I think we go ahead and say, yeah, you know what? We're going to bring these heavy cavalry up. And we're going to back them up with a light cavalry coming this way. So that light cavalry can kind of get stuck in as well if they want to. Now, the Albans are done, so the Tenebrans can start shooting, and they've got some cannons that can fire. They've got a cannon here that can fire at this heavy cavalry. It's at long range, so that is a -1. But it's +2 because they're shooting at this cavalry. Ooh, we probably should have put them over there after all. And then I think that's it. So they're at a total of +1. And with a 6, they get a target disrupted. Until it rallies, it may not fire or move and is more vulnerable to attacks. Now, I have red pipe cleaners to mark that, and I'm going to just scoot them up. They're actually closer to the edge. So there's your disrupted marker on that heavy cavalry. And then we have, so that was that shot. Then we have a shot here, which is long range at a unit. So they're at a total of -1 for that one. We're going to re-roll because it's cocked. So a 1 is no effect. But the artillery never get pinned. They're made for shooting. They just keep shooting, shooting, shooting. The other thing we have is, I think that's it for the shooting. Then we move on to the resolve melee. Obviously, we don't have any melee, so that is the end of the Alban's turn, and we move on to turn number 7. So the Tenebrans now are going to move first. And at 3 inches, this infantry can make contact. We'll swing the light infantry around. And we're going to bring this heavy cavalry over to here. This infantry can charge up 4, and at 4 inches we can do a cavalry battle. So we've got heavy knights on heavy knights, and we're going to bring, that's 12 inches. I think we're going to bring our general. There we go. Pretty good. I don't know about this one. That may be a problem. So player 1 moved. They don't have any to rally. Now player 2 gets to shoot. So now player 2 can take a shot with their artillery. Do they want to do counter battery fire? I think they do. So it doesn't make any sense. We're going to go ahead and shoot at this guy. This is a grenadier unit. And with it's cocked, I got to roll it again. Sorry, Meltzer. A 6 disrupted. Again, they now cannot move, and they cannot shoot, and they are more vulnerable to shooting. That may be a problem. And if they're like that at the end of the battle, it's going to be a big problem, because it means you take a lot more casualties into the retreat. A disrupted unit, not nearly as good at recovering from retreats. I think that's all the shooting the Albans can do. Then player 1 resolves melee. So we've got 2. We've got a heavy cavalry versus heavy cavalry. And they both get +2 to their rolls. And I think that's it. Yes, it is. All right. +2 to each. 7 to 4 is a difference of 3. Loser destroyed with an optional follow-up. Okay. Let's look at what that optional follow-up is. That is a full move directly ahead. And if you encounter another unit, so there's our edge, he's not going to encounter this light cavalry. So he's not going to move ahead. He's going to hang tight right there. Then we have to do this one. And in this case, we have a heavy cavalry at +2, but they are disrupted. I'm sorry. The heavy cavalry is at +2. The infantry is also at +2 because these guys are disrupted, and that is it. So in this case, you've got a 7 versus a 5. A difference of 2 means the loser routs. On a 1 or a 2, this heavy cavalry is dead. They're not dead, but because they routed, they move maximum to its rear. If it ends on a friendly unit, so that's 4 inches, but they route off the board. So it's now 3 and 3. With an optional, with 2, it is an optional follow-up. So does this infantry, and now if we put a line here, they will contact this guy. Do they want to do that? Draws are possible. Now, the rules as written say it's 5 units that are destroyed. So that could be the other way to finish this, is to go ahead and say, you know what? Let's go ahead and see if we can tie on 5. They're going to go ahead and... what they really want to do is retreat back to their friendly line, isn't it? We're going to go ahead and just hang tight right there. Ultimately, that's the best thing for them to do. Then we move on to player 2, moves and dices for reinforcements, and player 2 says, "Hacha! I am going to go ahead and try to destroy that unit by bringing on a reinforcement, and I'm going to fail on my first check. So I'm going to try a second time, and that time I succeed, and so I will trade you 1 line infantry for 1 light cavalry." Now we have some movement, so some like actual movement. We're going to go ahead and run away from this heavy cavalry, particularly because they are backed up by a second unit. We're going to go ahead and bring we'll bring this guy up another couple of inches. We'll bring this guy up a couple of inches. Then we'll bring him up to here. We'll bring him into position here. The grenadier up to there. We'll bring you up to there. So we're sweeping in, and then we'll bring our leader over to here. This cannon can come up 3 inches. This cannon can come up 3 inches. And I think we'll go ahead and pivot to face these guys, bring them up to cover there. We already moved them, so I think we're done with movement. Now it is the Tenebran's turn. We have nobody left to We've got well, it's not melee turn yet. Nobody to rally. Player 1 gets to shoot. So, we get a shot here. Let's go ahead and shoot at... Do you get points for shooting at a flank? Shooting... Fired on flank. I don't know. That doesn't look so much. That's 45. We're going to give him the front. So that's a straight. That's -1. And then here we're going to have a -1. So no effect for either of those cannon shots. And then it is going to be player 2 resolves melee. No melee. We move on to turn number 8. And I did it again. It's actually turn number 4. No. That's turn number 8. That's right. Have a little faith. All right. So it goes back to player 1. Moves units. So we're going to pivot and bring him down to here. We'll pivot. And I don't know. I think we go ahead and chase this guy. We can come around and maybe have some fun in that direction. That is about the only movement we want. Maybe we'll bring him over here because we want to be able to rally him once he gets engaged. That being the case, why don't we go ahead and bring him... All right, so I zeroed in on the action, and since I had time, I checked the footage. He can slide over onto the road, something like that. The big thing is I want him able to be rallied by this leader. 6 inches away ought to do it. If he gets double-teamed here, that could be a problem. But we are now into the player 1, since he's done all of his movement. No, he is not. He actually, there's no other... We can bring this guy up to here. And we can bring this guy around. And I think that's where things stand. We may go ahead and bring him into there. The issue there is if the unit is heavy cavalry, they get a +2. And I think that may be it. All right. So the next turn, they may be able to make contact and do some damage right there. I think that's about it. We do have an opportunity to, maybe he should just go ahead and make contact. That gives him a +1, and it allows him to, remove that marker on a 5+. That is a guard, so it's actually going to be a 4+, and if he's in contact, that's going to be a 3+. So let's do that. Hey, he's not disrupted anymore. Hey, let's find out if he's disrupted again, because it's now time for the Albans to conduct some shooty. And they actually have a clear line of sight right here, so they can target this guy with this cannon, and a 2 ain't going to do it, and then this cannon can fire at this once more, and a 3 ain't going to do it. Any melee? No melee. Player 2 moves units, dices for reinforcements. We'll bring this artillery up 2 inches. We'll bring this one up 2 inches. And we'll bring this one up 2 inches to there. Yeah. Oh, this could be interesting. I think we need to... That guy's going to be a real problem, isn't he? We're all choked out here. Let's come to here. We'll come to here. We'll come to here. And then, man. Are we really going to do this? Yeah, if we can make contact with this light infantry and wipe them out, or alternatively wipe these guys out, that would be a game. That would be the end of the game. Let's bring these guys over to here. And then we'll bring our general up a little bit. And I think that's it. So that's it for movement. And now it's going to be time for nobody to rally. Time for the Tenebrans to fire. We do have some firing. We've got an artillery firing at close range right here, which is going to be at a +1 for no effect. We've got an artillery at long range for no effect. And then we have a light infantry, which is, I think they're at -1. Target fire? No, let's see. Shooting modifiers. Oh, you know, we should have brought them up like this. You get a +2 when you're shooting at cavalry. We should have. Oh, what? Oh, blah, 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 blah. Range is only 1 inch, by the way. I don't think. Did they have movement to get that close? I can't remember. Oh, now it's going to be a fight, and it'll be a fair fight, which nobody likes. Yeah, light infantry. Where's my... I'm astonished. Flank, cavalry, infantry. Light infantry in woods as if it's a target. Target is disrupted to -1, artillery long range. Yeah, I guess it's just a straight die roll. A 4 is no effect. And that light infantry is now pinned. So that may have been a mistake for that light infantry. They might have been better off skedaddling. Now, player 2 moves. So these guys will slide 1.5 inches along here. Did I not move these guys? These guys were supposed to run away to there. So that these guys could now charge over the hill and maybe come to contact them. They slid over. These guys are going to go ahead and charge here. Kadonk. And I think that's it for the movement. Yeah. Then player 1 shoots. So we now have 2 artillery shots. They're going to shoot, these guys are going to shoot here. And that's at a -1. A 4 is nothing. And then that second shot is going to be a 5, which is disrupted. Like so. I think that's it. Yeah, this artillery can shoot, but they don't really have line of sight just yet because they're on the wrong side of the hill. We do have... Are they close enough? They can't shoot. They can't shoot. That's it for shooting. Now it's time for player 2 resolves melee. We've only got the 1 here, and this might decide it. First to lose 5. Heavy cavalry's at +2. Giving them the benefit of the doubt that they can form square. They're at +2. They are... let's see. Unit is... They are not guards. The unit is heavy cavalry. The enemy is... Nope, that's it. So it's a +2 to nothing. Alright, we gotta re-roll that because they're cocked. How embarrassing. That is a 7 versus a 5 versus a 6. Difference 1, loser routes, optional follow-up. Here we go, on a 1 or a 2, the game is over. It's cocked. Ah! Game's over, they're destroyed. That's our 5. Optional follow-up, we can finish out the turn. We like to do that, and they are absolutely going to follow out the turn. Now, they're at -1. So this becomes, and we got to do this, guys, for campaign reasons. That becomes a 2, so it's +2 for cavalry, -1 because this is their second attack. They're only at +1, so that's a 2 versus a 5. Difference of 3. loser routes with an optional follow-up. And we're going to take it because, oh, well, first of all, loser routes, 1 or 2, they're destroyed. So they're not destroyed, but they do move 4 inches straight away. And then they're going to follow up. Oh, that's only 3 inches. They can move to there. So they're still on the table, but they are disrupted. Then they're going to come to contact with this light infantry. And that now they're going to be at -1. And that light infantry, when they fight melee, they are... Nope. So the only difference here is these guys are at -1. So we have a 6 for the light infantry versus a 3. Difference of 3 means these guys are difference of 3, loser destroyed with an optional follow-up. So these guys are destroyed. So these, I'm sorry, this heavy cavalry is disrupted. These guys are destroyed. And I think that's it for the game. Player 2 resolves melee. Do we have any other melees to resolve? We do not. So that's the end of the game. All right, General Meltzer was much more cautious this time. He got a little bit overextended on this side and rolled the dice down here. Was this a mistake? Should he have been a little more patient? Should he have maybe secured his flank along that bridge a little more? Maybe. But, you know, the battle plans were disrupted by the enemy. The enemy gets a vote. And ultimately, I think that if the first battle down here had gone the other way, or, actually, this was the big mistake. If I had moved these guys up and shot at these guys, that's a Grenadier unit at +2. All you need to do is roll a 3 up, and they're pinned and can't move. On a 4 up, they're disrupted, and then when you move in, you can wipe them out. Would have taken a little more time for that to play out, but the numbers just weren't coming up. Some good shooting today. But, I don't know, maybe just kind of stay back. But, you know, you got to secure your flank. So the whole thing is really complicated. You guys saw what happened. You guys tell me what Meltzer should have done that might have made a difference in spite of some fairly close die rolls that just didn't go his way. At the end of the day, now one of the things to be aware of is he did lose 6 units. He is going to be hard-pressed here. Now, this is on his home turf. But he is now, his situation is falling apart, and he's only got that bridge to retreat across. You saw the way the choke point works. I think he's going to take a beating in the retreat. He lost 4 units, and, you know, we should take a look at whose army was in better shape. You know, the other issue here is that Meltzer's units were all kind of on their last legs. They were all operating at 50% capacity. So I think this is probably going to end the war in the north. But that's going to involve a lot of math. It's going to involve a lot of thinking about things. It's going to involve a lot of strategic planning. So we're going to have to address that. I mean, we've been at this for almost an hour. We're going to have to address that in another video. Look forward to seeing you then in what may prove to be the wrap-up for the White Queen's War. Thanks for coming along for the ride so far. If you have some advice for General Meltzer down here, who it turns out is the grand uncle of the White Queen, that's how he got his position. Clearly wasn't for his generalship. Then, yeah, go ahead and mention that. If you have some advice for what might have worked better for these guys, say that as well. And don't forget, right, that they had a lot of things that they had to think about. Cavalry on the north, cavalry in the south. You know, they were outnumbered, but somehow trading tit for tat down at this spawn point, what do you call it, this flanking, this reinforcement point, paid off for them. And this little exchange down here was critical because instead of just losing the 5, that extra unit that they lost is going to be big time. It's going to do some damage. That one's going to hurt. Anyway, that's it for today. Till next time, I'm praying for you.